Excuse me. Might have to second get together. All right. Opening for the defense. Today we're going to have to search through this contract and look through some of the fine print. And today, for your knowing, the topic of this sermon is man's epic search for an escape clause. Subtitle, Looking for a Fit Man. Pass that around, please. First thing we need to understand, jury, what is an escape clause? An escape clause is any clause, term, or condition in a contract that allows a party to take of that contract to avoid having to perform the contract. In other words, if an agreement was drawn up for the sale of a house, for example, the purchaser would include some kind of escape clause in a contract which would allow him to escape from the contract without being liable for breach of contract. Since the beginning of time, since Adam and Eve, man has been on a search for that escape clause. And I did a little research, and I looked through that contract, and I went through some of the fine print, Your Honor, and I found that in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, Articles 1 through 13.
And we may do a lot of reading today, but we're going to make it as quick as possible because y'all heard the prosecutor, he got his golf game, and we're going to try to sell it somewhere.
It says, moreover, brethren, I would not that ye should be ignorant, how that all our fathers were under the cloud and all passed through the sea, and were all baptized into Moses into the cloud in the sea, and did all eat the same spiritual meat, and did all drink the same spiritual drink. For they drank of that spiritual rock that followed them. And I'm here to attest today that that rock was Christ. But many of them God was not well pleased, for they were overthrown in the wilderness. There's a lot of us here today that has been overthrown in the wilderness. Life has come and we've been found in that strange place of no inhabitants and no support and nowhere to back us up, and we've been lost in that wilderness. Now these things were our examples, to the intent we should not lust after evil things, as they also lusted. Neither be ye idolaters, as were some of them, as it is written, the people sat down to eat and drink and rose up to play. Neither let us commit fornication, as some of them committed, and fell in one day, Your Honor, 320,000. Neither let us tempt Christ, as some of them also tempted and were destroyed of service. Neither murmur you, gossip, complain, as some of them also murmured and were destroyed of the destroyer. They fell victim to the breach of contract. Now all these things happened unto them for examples, and they are written for our admonition, upon whom the ends of the world are come. Wherefore let him that thinketh he standeth take heed lest he fall. And I bring you to this point here that there is no temptation taking you, but such as is common to man. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it.
Jesus.
That's a very popular article for the church. But to understand the depth of that article is to let you know that God is faithful. Now, Your Honor, we see you as faithful, so I see no way in the world why we should fall victim of such a small breach of contract. throw ourselves on the mercy of the court.
Hey.
Ezekiel 20, Articles 34 through 37. In this search for this escape clause, we must start at the beginning. We must start with what God has, the writer of the contract has sent forward for us to understand. He gave us some specific steps to take. But unless these are followed in order, there's no escape. And it says, Article 34, and I will bring you out from the people and will gather you out of the countries wherein you are scattered with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out. I will bring you into the wilderness of the people and there will I plead with you face to face. Like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt, so will I plead with you, saying who?
The Lord God.
Lord God. And I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. Bond. When I think of the word bond, anytime you bond anything, it takes a certain adhesive to come between those two solid materials to create a bond. So what God is telling his people, Your Honor, or what he has pretty much told mankind is that in order to get their relationship back with God, there has to be something that's sticking together. So he called an impromptu meeting, an arbitrator, to come through and pretty much reconnect and re-bend and mediate between man and God. Tried a lot of different options. Leviticus 10, 7 through 10. We almost home. Leviticus 10, 7 through 10 says, and ye shall not go out from the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, lest ye die. For the anointed oil of the Lord is upon you. And they did according to the word of Moses. And the Lord spake unto Aaron, saying, do not drink wine, nor strong drink. Thou nor thy sons with thee, when ye go into the tabernacle of the congregation, lest ye die. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generation, and that ye may put difference between holy and unholy, and between unclean and clean. What I gathered out of this argument here is pretty much telling me that God is saying that even though man breached the contract, he's making available for some to be reconnected. In order for them few to be reconnected, we must figure out who is who. What is what? We can't have murderers with priests. We can't have liars with truth tellers. There must be a separation. So the first thing God said is gather yourselves, separate yourselves. That way he may identify those who recognize the escape clause.